true love. Hard to see it go, Clayton.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks to that organ player for that last segment. All right, it's being called backdoor amnesty. 1,600 illegal immigrants allowed to stay in the country, avoiding deportation, after Homeland Security found that they were not a threat to national security. It's part of a new program set forth by President Obama to only target illegals who have a criminal background. But is this the way that it should be handled? Dan Stein is the president of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, and Francisco Hernandez is an immigration attorney. They both join us this morning. Welcome to both of you.
Good to be here.
Good morning. Francisco, let me start with you. How is this not backdoor amnesty? Convince me that it's not.
Well, it's real simple. It's not amnesty because it doesn't give these folks any right to remain here or any work permit or any legal status whatsoever. We know where they are. We know who they are. If we need to go get them, we know exactly where to go. It's a question about devoting resources to the more dangerous criminals, say sex offenders or people who pose a threat to public safety. That's all it is. It's not backdoor amnesty at all. It's really no program at all.
Dan, did Francisco convince you it says not backdoor amnesty?
Well, certainly not. Of course, look, I've got a memo here. It's an internal memo from the Obama administration about 2 years ago. It said, look, if we can't get amnesty through Congress, we've got a set of ideas that we're going to use to essentially take away from Congress and the American people the right to decide who gets to come and who gets to stay. And this is part of that process. You have to look at this one policy of basically taking out of the deportation process all what they call non-criminal aliens in deportation and just letting them go free and forgetting about them against the backdrop of this administration's elimination of all interior immigration enforcement, lawsuits against the states. Now, people say after 9/11, how did that happen? Well, now the Obama administration went to Disney World and he said, we're not going to interview people who are going to get visas. Remember, that's what happened with the 9/11 hijackers. And they're starting down the road of saying, look, if you come here on a non-immigrant visa, you're never going to get deported. If you stay here illegally for any period of time, your chances of being apprehended and deported are zero. The presidential candidates need to get out there on the trail and say, if elected, I will enforce the immigration laws of the United States. Because the Obama administration is no longer enforcing our immigration laws.
Francisco, you disagree?
We're talking about 1,600, and he's talking the sky is falling. Actually, you know, I do like Gingrich's reasonable immigration proposal. I've got no problem with what he's proposing. Maybe you guys ought to go embrace him. But there's no amnesty. There's no internal memo that says what Mr. Stein is saying. There's absolutely, it's just scare tactics. It's talking about whether you have limited resources, are you going to devote them to serious cases like sex offenders or dangerous criminals with repeated criminal histories, or people who have misdemeanor, who have been here since they were 6 months old and don't even speak the language, have nowhere to go, and we know exactly who they are and where they are.
Dan, what about that point of resources, the lack of abundant resources going after those who aren't criminals by the definition of sex offenders and violent criminals?
Look, the point is, if the Obama administration were really concerned about resources, they would be going to Congress and saying, this is what we need to do to get the job done. Can you imagine the FDA saying, oh, you know, we didn't have the resource to test these drugs, so we let them go to market without testing. No, in fact, what's going on here is they're essentially saying to states, we don't want you to help us enforce the law. We don't want Congress to tell us to enforce the law. We want the unilateral right to usurp the prerogatives of Congress and say, we're just going to let people stay and have unlimited immigration. And listen, we're going down this road. People need to listen to what we're saying.
Francisco,
this is serious.
But actually, Congress doesn't enforce the laws, Mr. Stein, and they've tried. George Bush tried it. Barack Obama tried it, and Congress doesn't want to do anything. Both sides in Congress don't want to do anything because it's the red-headed stepchild for politics. I thought I had the last word.
You did. And now I have the last word. We got to end it there, guys. Great debate this morning. Dan Stein and Francisco Hernandez, always great to see you guys. And we want to hear from our viewers this morning on this very issue. You can find us on Twitter. We are FF Weekend on Twitter.